Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. China Open Showdown, Liz versus Gauff, who will dominate? Fire match prediction plus analysis. The China Open has long been one of the most prestigious battlegrounds in the WTA calendar. With Beijing as the backdrop, the tournament combines history, glamour, and world-class competition. It's not just another stop on the tour. It's an event where champions are made, reputations are defined, and the future of women's tennis is often previewed before the world. In 2025, one of the marquee matches has drawn the eyes of global tennis fans. Eva Liss versus Coco Gauff. On one side stands Eva Liss, the rising German talent who has clawed her way into the spotlight with grit, precision, and an underdog spirit that resonates with fans. On the other side, Coco Gauff, the American sensation who has gone from teenage prodigy to Grand Slam champion, now firmly carrying the expectations of a generation on her shoulders. The matchup is more than a contest of skill. It is a clash of styles, personalities, and trajectories. Gauff, the household name with a resume that includes a U.S. Open crown, is seen by many as a future #1. Liss, the hungry fighter, is eager to prove she can hang with the sport's elite and perhaps upset the order of women's tennis. But who will dominate when these two step onto the hard courts of Beijing? To answer that, we must break down everything, from playing styles and mental toughness to the conditions and crowd dynamics. The profiles of two contenders. Eva Liss, the challenger rising. Eva Liss, born in Germany to Ukrainian parents, has been building momentum in the past 2 seasons. Once seen as a solid mid-tier player, Liss has shattered that label by producing gutsy performances in tournaments across Europe and Asia. Strengths: a strong baseline game with a focus on consistency. Flat, penetrating ground strokes that cut through slower surfaces. A knack for absorbing pace from big hitters and redirecting it with intelligence. Mental composure. Rarely does she allow scoreline pressure to break her rhythm. Weaknesses: serve inconsistency. Double faults have occasionally cost her big matches. Struggles against aggressive returners who step inside the baseline. Experience gap against top 10 opponents in late-round matches. Liss comes into this China Open Showdown as the underdog, but in tennis, underdogs often thrive when expectations are minimal. For her, this is an opportunity to make a global statement. Coco Gauff, the superstar with a point to prove. When you mention Coco Gauff, you're not just talking about a tennis player. You're talking about a movement. From her breakout win against Venus Williams at Wimbledon 2019 to her U.S. Open triumph, Gauff has become the face of modern women's tennis. Strengths: lightning-fast court coverage, arguably one of the best movers on tour. A powerful forehand that can dictate rallies when in form. One of the most reliable backhands in the game. A weapon she can trust under pressure. Exceptional fighting spirit. She simply doesn't quit on points. Weaknesses: the forehand can break down under high, heavy topspin. Streaky service games when nerves creep in, carrying the pressure of expectations, which can sometimes tighten her play. For Gauff, every match is a balancing act between handling the burden of being the star and the joy of competing freely. Against Liss, she won't just be expected to win. She'll be expected to dominate. The battle of styles. The matchup between Liss and Gauff is intriguing because it's a clash of steady resilience versus explosive athleticism. Baseline exchanges. Liss thrives in rhythm-based rallies. She likes to settle into long exchanges, using timing and placement to wear opponents down. Gauff, however, can disrupt that rhythm with sudden injections of pace, spin, and court coverage. Serving dynamics. Gauff's first serve can earn her cheap points, but when her second serve falters, Liss will be ready to pounce. Liss' serve, though less powerful, is accurate when dialed in. But if nerves hit, Gauff's aggressive returns may punish her. Net play and variety. Gauff is becoming more comfortable finishing points at the net, something Liss rarely attempts. If Coco can shorten rallies, she'll prevent Liss from finding the groove she needs. Mental game. Perhaps the most fascinating element. Liss is playing with nothing to lose, which frees her to swing boldly. Gauff, however, must carry the weight of expectation, which could either sharpen her focus or tighten her game. Historical context and momentum. List's recent form. Evil List has been grinding. Her 2025 season has featured strong runs in mid-level tournaments and a handful of upsets against seeded players. Her ranking climb reflects her consistency, and she's showing she belongs in these matchups. However, this is her first time facing Gauff in such a high-stakes setting. Gauff's recent form. Gauff enters the China Open as one of the favorites for the title. After a semifinal run at the U.S. Open and strong showings in Asian hardcourt tournaments, she's riding momentum. But she's also under pressure to maintain her standing as a top contender against IGA Swiatek, Aryna Sabalenka, and Elena Rybakina. Tactical keys to victory. What List must do to win. Attack Gauff's forehand. Consistently test that wing to force errors. Stay patient. Avoid trying to out-hit Gauff. Instead, rely on rhythm and redirecting pace. Serve smart. Focus on accuracy and placement, not power. Target Gauff's backhand return when possible. Mental resilience. Accept that Gauff will produce highlight reel shots. List must stick to her plan and not panic. What Gauff must do to win. Dominate with speed. Use her athleticism to turn defense into offense quickly. Step inside the court. Don't allow List to control the baseline exchanges. Serve aggressively. Keep free points flowing to avoid long rallies. Stay loose. Play with freedom, avoiding the trap of overthinking as a favorite. Crowd and conditions. The China Open crowd often favors the underdog, cheering passionately for players who display fight and spirit. List could benefit from that energy, especially if she stretches the match. However, Gauff, with her global fan base, will not lack support. The hard courts in Beijing are medium-paced, rewarding players who can both hit through the court and defend effectively. On paper, this slightly favors Gauff, whose speed and counterpunching thrive in these conditions. Predictions. So, who will dominate? If Gauff plays at 70 to 80% of her peak, she should win. Her superior athleticism, experience, and weapons are simply too much for List to handle consistently. A straight sets victory is possible. If Gauff's forehand collapses and her serve falters, List has a real shot at dragging the match into a deciding set, where nerves and crowd support could tilt the balance. A stage where legends in the making and hungry newcomers collide. Gauff represents the present, a champion, a global icon, and the face of a generation. List represents the future, the player who refuses to accept limits and dares to believe she belongs on the same stage. The outcome may tilt toward Gauff, but the real victory belongs to tennis fans who get to witness a battle that fuses drama, strategy, and inspiration in one of the sport's greatest arenas. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.